Hey folks, this is Jake at Canadian Cutting Edge. Today we're taking a look at the Sanrenmu 70, the big brother of the 7098. This is the 9018, the 9018. Full-size folder that has a flipper and thumb studs. I'm going to try something odd this time. I'm going to do an unboxing before I do the review. Hopefully this video will not get too long, but we'll see. So I've got this. I believe it's from GearBest. I am quite confident of that. And I think it's probably going to be some fixed blades because I've got my folding knives not coming directly to Canada. My folding knives go to the United States first and then come through to Canada, so that they can get in without CBSA getting their hands all over them. Of course, they still could get their hands all over them, but going to my sister's place first in Nebraska means that they will then be in a personal package to me. And it seems like CBSA, this is dirty, CBSA allows personal packages in a lot more readily with less inspections than packages that come from retailers. This is very dirty, nasty, dusty. This is HX Outdoors Gear, a fixed blade knife that I've been asking for. This is the TD08. Now, I think I ordered this from my own shekels, to be honest with you. I keep saying shekels, my own money. Yeah, I'll have to clean this up. It's gotten dirty somehow. But what we have is a Scandi grind, almost a almost a Scandi grind, but it's a saber grind. Scandi grind would be a shorter grind to get to the full width of the blade. 8 steel, real wood handles, and a full size knife, drop point blade, and a leather sheath. And I'm going to clean this all up and do a review on this. I've got no idea why it's all dirty. That's not wonderful, is it? Okay, now I've kicked my camera stand, and I'm sure you're seeing off my screen now right there. And I just noticed I got a hole in my pants. All kinds of things aren't going right now. I'm going to fix my camera. There we go. Now you can't see the other wall off the side. So now you can pretend it's a real brick wall all the way across again. I've got two more knives in here. We've got this one. It's a sort of nondescript box. It says Model F002, made by Ming Hong Tools and Hardware Company. So I believe this is that brother series. Decent box. Ming Hong Tool. It's the first time I've seen them named that way. And yes, this set is actually from the knives that I asked my rep at GearBest to send to me. And so I bought one already because they just weren't sending stuff. So now I've got two of these. So I'll definitely be selling one of these F002 knives. We've got a, I think it's, why is my brain drawing a blank? It's not the G10, it's the sort of the fabric filled with epoxy. Sorry, my brain's just not saying it. Obviously, the word's on the screen there. But a nice full tang knife, high saber grind. You might almost be tempted to call it a full flat grind. A little forward choil. And, a half decent sheath. And we're going to take a review of this guy coming up soon, I hope, since I've had the other one for a while. And this one is the F001. So that was the F002, packaged very much the same way. Put that away. Same type of sheath, Kydex type sheath. This is a full flat grind indeed. Just a slight drop point, unlike the other one. And the handle doesn't come back, it just gets a little thicker. Little lanyard hole back here. That's nice. And this one is, well, no, this one's probably micarta. There's the word right there, micarta. Okay, this looks like it's also a micarta handle scale. And we've got two copper or brass pins that go all the way through. I can see the camera through there. Jimping on the spine. Actually, it's quite comfortable. Also, 440C steel. So, whoops, that's backwards. Do it this way. Nope, that's backwards. I'll get it figured out. It's very similar on either side, but not quite a spear point. That's what I wanted to say. So there you go. Those knives will be reviewed soon, I hope. Now let's talk about the review of the 9018. By the way, guys, I got a small little announcement. My daughter, she's a real big 21 Pilots fan. It's a band. They're playing in Tacoma, Washington. Tacoma's that way from where I'm sitting. That's why I'm pointing over there. November 16th, 2018. And she needs to sell these tickets because she can't make it. She lives in Alberta with me. Not with me, but in Alberta. And so if you want tickets to that concert, and you want to buy them off her, they're email transferable. So email me at canadiancuttingedge@gmail.com and I will put you in contact with her if you want those tickets. I will not be doing this kind of announcement regularly. A father just likes to help out their children every once in a while, right? So there you go. On to the review. Now, one of my regular viewers, one of my Patreon supporters, indeed I call him a friend of this channel, he was pointing out that the video is doing some weird things recently. I had been trying autofocus for a while, and so, yeah, that's got its positives. I can do better shots up close, but it just looks odd when the focus goes up and down and back and forth. So I'm back onto fixed focus, which means when I bring the item closer to the camera, I have to tap the back of the camera and tell it to focus. And then I can take a look at it. But then if I put the item back down, it's out of focus and I've got to tap the screen again and tell it to refocus. So hopefully I will not forget to tell it to focus over and over again. Like I said, we've got 12C27 Sandvik steel. Very nice. Good sharpener's toil. And I'm going to go fairly quick on this. I really do like this knife, but I just can't make my videos so super long. We've got a nice spot here for your thumb rest. If you're just holding the handle's got the same thing, so you can put your thumb back here, and it's very comfortable resting in there. So you can sneak up and do some harder work using just the edge of the blade right there with your thumb behind it, or like this, which is especially good if you're reaching for a stabbing motion, but you've also got some good dexterity that way. We've got a liner lock here, and this one's got, let me focus it up here. It doesn't have super early lockup. It's got about mid-range lockup, which is okay on a brand new knife. I do prefer the lockup to be a little bit earlier. So in this orientation, I prefer that it's closer to this side, this arm here. I prefer it to be closer to there. So as the knife wears, the steel will wear and it'll slowly come further and further back onto this side. And once the liner lock is touching this liner on this side, you've worn out the lock on the knife. And after that, you'll start to get blade play in this direction, back and forth. But right now, there's no blade play side to side or up and down. Lockup is nice and solid. And for the price that you pay for this knife, that's not bad at all. We've got some skeletonizing on the liner on this side. And the other side that's got the liner lock, there's no real skeletonizing on that side. But I'll take it apart and show you a picture of the inside. Lock this knife up. So, like I said, you've got this pocket clip here, which is quite nice. But with this extra piece of steel on this steel back spacer coming back, you've got a tiny little glass breaker with some carbide in the end, or tungsten. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to double check what Sanrenmu uses. I haven't had one of their knives that has that in a while. And so that sticks out a little bit. When it's in the pocket, It's not bad though. As you can see, there's just a little bit of the knife sticking out. No problem at all. If you're someone who will never ever use the, whoops, hit the camera there, sorry about that. If you're someone who will never ever use a glass breaker, or you think you never will, there's two little flat spots right there, and I'll show you a close-up picture of this. So you can easily take a set of needle nose pliers and unscrew this. It's threaded in. On the close-up picture of it, you can see that the tip of it is darker. That's because it's got that much harder steel, and that's why it works good as a glass breaker. You've got torque screws, which are quite nice. You've got a fixed pin for the pivot so that it doesn't spin freely, and you've got the T8 screw here that comes out. Flipper tab sticks out a bit. Very easy to use in light switch mode, and you can use the push down method too because it is behind the center point of the pivot, so you can just push straight down and it's going to cause the blade to come flying out, so that's really nice. Now the thumb studs, they're a good idea, but the execution is not quite that good. Either they should have taken off more G10, and they could take off probably another 1.5 millimeters, probably a 1/16 of an inch they could take off more, because getting your thumb onto that thumb stud takes some focused effort. And you can do it when you're focused, but if you just pick up the knife and you go to flip it, chances are really high that your thumb is just going to slide over that, because these thumb studs are quite small. Let's see if I can do a nice close-up of this. So there you go. You can see how the thumb studs are, quite far in, and they don't come out as far as the G10, not even close. So you really have to get down into the space to get to touch that. But then you've got a soft, rounded tip on those thumb studs. And that's why, when they're smooth and soft like that, your thumb can easily slide over it. So if you're a thumb stud person, get some larger thumb studs to put in there. These will unscrew. Use pliers again to grab them, and they're threaded, and you can take them off and replace them. So that's an option for you if you really like thumb studs. Another option is to sand down the G10 right down to the liners, and then your thumb will have better access to that. Now there's one more, let me refocus this. Now there's one more con about this region of the knife, and that looks like it wouldn't really be a con, and that is right here with the liner release. The liner release comes fairly high right there, but then it comes down and disappears quite readily. And that means sometimes when I've gone to unlock this knife, my thumb hasn't been all the way up there. It's just been back here a little bit, and then I just slide over the release and I don't engage it. I have to get my thumb all the way up there in order to get some meat of my thumb onto the steel that's sticking out there. So again, the only solution for that in this case is to take away some material here, but in this case you'd have to take away some of the steel as well, the steel liner, which of course can be done if you've got the tools for it, and especially if you've got the patience. It's something you can fix, but you shouldn't have to fix it. Sanrenmu usually knocks it out of the park. This knife has got a couple very small flaws, but they're fixable flaws. I just wanted to make sure you knew about them. Good points. The sharpener's choil is beautiful, very well done. These areas in here for your thumb, that's great. The knife is comfortable in a reverse grip like this, no problem like that. And, pinch grips forward, this finger on the spine if you're doing some delicate. The grips are really, really comfortable, and the pocket clip isn't hot. Unfortunately, they didn't make it left side as well, which I really wish they would have. And it's not that hard to clean this knife out unless you get it all dirty back in here where these extra tools are. And these tools are just slip joint, they don't lock. But what we have is a standard flat driver right here and a bottle opener. And on this side, we've got a cordage ripper and a flat Phillips driver, and they work just fine. Do I have anything that I would need to screw with a driver? Let me see. So I've got a screw here in this piece of wood, and it fits in there very well. And you can use it to, drive a screw. But what just happened is the inherent fault in this thing. Being no lock on there, you know, if you put the pressure on just wrong, it's going to close on you like that. So you do have to be very careful if you're using, you know, a driver in this way. It's certainly not a primary source use. It just isn't good for that. And, you know, they're not bad on there. They do add weight to the thing, but not bad at all. Let's do all the dimensions now. The cutting edge is 8.3 centimeters. That's just over 3 1/4 inches. Blade length, so that's the tip of the handle to the tip of the blade, is 8.1 centimeters, 3.19 inches. The blade thickness is 3 millimeters. That's 0.118 inches. The blade depth at the biggest spot right here is 2.9 centimeters. That's 1.14 inches. The thickness of the edge behind the grind is 0.54 centimeters, 0.54 millimeters, which is 0.0213 inches. Great thickness. You'll get a lot of life out of this knife, and having that high flat grind, it's going to be a good slicer, and it has been in my experience using it. The grind angle is 19.6 degrees on this side with the Sanrenmu symbol, and 22.9 degrees on this side. It's one of the better knives that I've reviewed since I started measuring the angles, and it's pretty close to 20 degrees on both sides, so kudos to Sanrenmu on their edge sharpening. Now, the handle length is 11.5 centimeters, 4.53 inches. The grip area is, I count it right there between my thumbs, not all the way back here, just from there to there. 9 centimeters, 3.54 inches. The handle thickness, without not counting the pocket clip, is 1.3 centimeters. That's 0.512 inches. So the good 1/2 inch thick handle, very common. I like it. The handle depth, the biggest right here, 2.6 centimeters, 1.02 inches. Very good. And, I didn't do a measurement for this way, so I'll put it on the screen right now. The measurement of the handle this way, so in your pocket it takes up this depth. The numbers are on the screen. And the total length of this knife with the blade deployed all the way from the tip of that blade to the tip of the glass breaker is 20.3 centimeters, 7.99 inches. There you go, an 8-inch knife with a 3 1/4 inch blade or cutting edge. It weighs 138 grams, 4.85 ounces. So with all this stuff going on, with all these extra tools, with a steel back spacer, you're still well under 5 ounces, and that's a good thing if you ask me. The balance point is a little bit further back because of all the extra weight, but it's not crazy way back, so that's a good thing. The cost of this knife, I got mine through GearBest. I bought it myself. US dollars, it's $26.90. Or you can get it on Amazon for just $3 more. The Canadian price at GearBest is $35.51. In euros, it's 23.41, and in British pounds, it's 20.58. So for what you get, hey, that's a fair price for a good budget knife with Sandvik steel 12C27. I don't mind paying that much for this at all. There is a small shipping charge at GearBest, under $1 for shipping this knife to most countries. So the unique features is this small, tiny little glass breaker back here. Not that other things don't have glass breakers, but this one's actually got a actual glass breaker, not just stainless steel on the end of the handle. And it's removable. That's kind of cool. Great lanyard hole. Comfortable in hand in almost any position. Deep carry pocket clip that's not hot in the hand when you're using it. So Sanrenmu always does a really good job with their washers. And, it's a good driver, and you've got extra tools just in case. Of course, they're not great tools, but they're good tools. The cons, it needs higher thumb studs, especially for those that just want thumb studs. Maybe they want to grind this flipper tab off if flippers are frowned upon in their neighborhood, because then you can just use the thumb studs and deploy the knife. You can right now, but you just have to be that much more careful. And the other con I mentioned is I'd like to see a little more steel exposed right here. And the way to do that is to take some material down here. So there you go. There's that knife. I like it. It looks good and feels good. If you want to buy one, I've got links down below in the description so you can use my links to buy this. Thanks for liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. And remember, guys, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb.